Hi there, this is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com from Tapping.me, and I'm also the creator of the program Catapulting to Confidence. I'm going to talk about a little bit of a touchy, iffy subject today about permission to feel the unacceptable feelings or emotions. And the reason I want to do this is because not only did I find this extremely helpful for me to get through stuffed emotion, blocked emotion, things that have been built up over years that were choking me emotionally, physically, mentally, but I have also heard how releasing it can be for other people too. So, what am I talking about? We are given a range of emotions from the happy to the miserable, from the joyous to the despairing and disgusting, and the things that we label and beat ourselves up for feeling. So, why were we given a range of emotions to begin with? My personal feeling, and I could be wrong, but it's my personal feeling that we are given a range of emotions to get through this human experience, to get through life, so that we can feel the good, the bad, the ugly, and anything in between, so that we know kind of where to go, where we want to go towards, being able to discern and decipher the people that will feel good to us as opposed to devastating to us, the situations that bring us joy versus the one that hurts like hell. I mean, there are just so many reasons for a range of emotion. Here's when it can become detrimental, and I'm going to give some examples of this in a minute. But when you're blocking what you perceive as negative emotions, or the what is wrong with you, you shouldn't be feeling that way emotions, you're actually starting to confuse your energy and stuff down things that can eventually bite you. And I mean, when there's too big a conflict in what you're experiencing and what you're allowing yourself to feel, when you're shoving all that down, where's it going to go? Eventually, you're like a trash compactor. It's going to get filled up. And then it's going to come out. What do you think road rage is? I use that example a lot because people talk about it. Road rage is not about what's happening in that moment. It is a series of stuffed emotions, being cut off, feeling inconsidered, all those things that could equate to what's going on right there in the moment that have built up and built up and built up to the point where now you're overflowing with venom. Many people have been taught, me included, it's wrong to feel this way. You shouldn't feel that way. You're a bad person if you feel that way. God's going to punish you if you feel that way. You're going to get punished in school, by your parents, by mentors, by authority figures. And while that's true, there is also a way in adulthood, actually in childhood too, that you can learn how to work through these emotions without taking out revenge on someone, without hating someone else, without attacking someone else, without making them the wrong one, but allowing your feelings at the same time. Now, how do you do that? Well, I use tapping to do that. When you honor what you're going through, not taking it out on someone else. When I'm talking about honoring what you're going through, I'm talking about using this tool called tapping to work through your emotions, to move the physical energy as you're tapping on different points that correlate to different emotional organ-related energies. When you're moving those things out, you are not taking it out on someone else, but you're acknowledging the feelings. So I want to give you some examples of what the heck I'm talking about, because I've had a bunch lately, and it's really coming to the forefront of how important this is. Not only have I recognized how important it's been for me, but the conflict that we cause ourselves internally saying, nope, I shouldn't feel that way, but you do. No, I shouldn't look at them that way, but you do. No, I shouldn't hate them, but you feel that in the moment. It doesn't mean those emotions have to linger, and it doesn't mean you have to do something to fight them, run from them, or whatever. When you're tapping, you can work through those emotions in a safe and healthy way that will not only benefit you, but the people that you're around. So just recently, I did a presentation for a church group where there were a lot of people who were the spouses of the pastor and the expectations and how you're supposed to act. But I can take this back to feeling this same kind of disconnect when I was a kid in a Catholic school, in a Catholic church. There was such a pious attitude about the mass, and it felt fake to me. It never felt real. It felt like pomp and circumstance, like it's for show. It never felt legit or real. And that same kind of thing I was experiencing hearing some of these people talk. You're supposed to act a certain way when you're in church. You're supposed to have a certain demeanor when you're a pastor's wife. You're supposed to say certain things. Now, I'm not negating that some of this is very beneficial and helpful. What I'm talking about is, though, when there's a conflict within your energy where you feel one way, but you're acting another, you're causing a confusion in your energy. So one of the things that came up, and I did not bring this up in my part of the talk, but somebody else commented about how they are taught to say, oh, I'm blessed. And that's a wonderful thing. But if you're saying I'm blessed and you feel like you want to, well, hate someone, hurt someone, pissed off, angry, frustrated, feeling betrayed, whatever you're feeling, some negative emotion, you're causing a confusion. Your body doesn't know what to do. So it goes into an interruption and a discord. Now, I'm not saying to carry that out on anybody. I'm going to keep saying that. This is not about taking anything out on somebody else, but it's about honoring what you're feeling so that you're not shoving it down so that your energy gets confused to say, what the heck? So let me tell you another scenario. I was in a group that was talking about social anxiety. There was this one particular woman, and boy, could I relate. She was talking about how her partner, I think it might have been her husband, was dying of a terminal illness. And on this particular day, when she did this post, she was really hurting, not only from the obvious reality of what's going on, but it was her birthday. And she was saying, it's my birthday and I can't even really, there's no one here to share it with because we're in the middle of this stuff and this situation. And she was feeling very isolated and hurting. And I could relate to everything that she was saying because while I loved Ray when he was sick, there was a part of me that hated taking care of him. There was a part of me that hated the circumstances I was in. Not even disregarding him or what he was going through, but what it was doing to me. Because when somebody is ill, there are two parts to the story. That person who is the patient is not going through that alone. And we have, as the caretakers or the loved ones looking on, we have our own set of feelings. But what really bothered me, and it bothered me when it happened to me too, was people were, you shouldn't be so selfish. You shouldn't be thinking about yourself. Your partner won't have that long to live. You should be focusing on them. I remember feeling that same message, and it not only devastated me, now it made me feel guilty for hurting. Can you see how that would be such conflictual energy within your spirit, within your soul? You're not allowed to feel what you really feel. That's very detrimental. So let's talk about, I remember years ago being part of a Reiki group, and there was this attitude about, I'm a healer, so I'm supposed to act a certain way. I'm supposed to be loving all the time. I'm supposed to be giving all the time and doing and from my heart. And yet I know there were people in that group that were very angry, very conflicted inside, because they weren't acknowledging what they were really feeling. They were playing a role, playing a part, doing what they thought they were supposed to do. Tapping can be such a help for that conflict, for that tug of war, for that guilt over feeling what you feel. Feeling like, I don't want to be a partner to you today. I don't want to be a parent to you today. I can't stand how you're treating me at work. And if you ignore those feelings or don't do anything about them to release them, to work through them, and to clear the energy within your system and your subconscious, you will keep replaying that a lot of times until you become the trash compactor. It's not healthy. It's not serving anyone. And in fact, that's a lot of times where illness can happen, where people snap and they get to the point where they can't handle anything else. Or it devastates their life so much, they just become frozen in time where they can't do anything. Again, I am not telling anyone to take out their emotions on someone else. But when you are neglecting or pretending like what you are feeling doesn't exist, you are causing a discord and disconnect in your energy. You would get further, faster, easier if you were to learn how to tap on those emotions, that you're ashamed of feeling. Tap on those emotions that have you feeling guilty for feeling that way, and to work through those emotions, clear the roots of why you were even taught that your feelings are not okay, and then release that energy from your system. It will make you happier. It will make you easier to be around. It will produce those loving feelings. I did an audio not all that long ago about when you don't feel grateful, because that's also a buzz phrase. Oh, you should be grateful. Look at the things that are good. The problem is when you're in a space where everything hurts or everything is bothering you, it's very hard to feel gratitude in that space at that point in time. You would be far better off to tap on, I don't feel grateful. I'm angry about this. I'm hurting like hell. All that stuff that's underneath. You would be better off tapping on those actual feelings to give it a voice, to give it a reason to say, okay, what am I supposed to be working through here? Because I think all of those are nudges. They're not meant to be used on someone else in road rage, in detrimental kind of things. It's meant to call a wake up and attention. Those feelings are messengers to say something's out of alignment. The more you force it under, the more you get out of alignment. The more you get out of alignment, the more you feel the way you don't want to feel. The more you feel the way you don't want to feel, the more you're likely to take it out or blame someone else, when actually it's a self-evolution and healing and honoring of you that needs to come first so that you can overflow with joy. I hope this is coming across in the right way, because this isn't something to be ashamed of, but yet so many people will not pay attention to the negative side of how they feel, or the thoughts that they're thinking, or the reactions that they're having, because you'll be bad, you'll be wrong, you'll be sent to hell. It's just so many tags of how we then beat ourselves up, and it's not going to help our life to beat ourselves up. The idea is to get to the joy center, to get to the God-loving center, the divine guidance of how we can be in a loving space. And pretending like something that's negative or hurting doesn't exist does not help that cause. So I wanted to do this just to say, how are you stuffing what you perceive as your unacceptable emotions? Because if you can start to be honest with that and tap through them in your own private space, in your own privacy, because this is not to take out on someone else. This is not to be yelling or ranting or raving in earshot of someone else. This is your own journey, your own things to work through. And when you can do that in privacy so that you're not hurting someone else, you will be better off. The people around you will be better off, but you won't have to stuff all that hurt and pretend like it doesn't exist when it's screaming. So for any people who consider themselves healers or practitioners that are doing holistic feel-good kind of things, I want you to tune into what kind of things might you be blocking because you're not supposed to feel it given what you do. For people who are priests or anybody that is a coach or someone who can help guide other people through things, that person is also human too. I'm going to say right here and now, I have had some clients put me on a pedestal, and I'm always quick to remind them saying, I'm human just like you are. I may have some skills to help you see what might be going on, but that doesn't mean I have all the answers. Actually, you and your divine guidance have all the answers. You just may need someone to help you navigate through that. But to put other people on a pedestal, they're human just like you are. They may have different skills than you have, but that's the thing. We can all help each other with our skills and gifts and talents. Knowing how to work through emotions, I had to learn this a lot because I got hit with a lot of unforeseen, shocking, surprising, out of the blue circumstances that came one after another, after another, after another, after another. And I was so devastated. I needed to work through all those emotions and figure out how best to do that. I used a lot of different coaches who were EFT coaches, but some people just don't know how to work through some of those things. So I would go on to another one and another one. My point is, I have kind of been through this journey where when my sweetheart Ray was sick, I hated being his caretaker. And yet I was in a tug of war over, I can't speak that. It would be wrong to feel that. I'm supposed to be here to help him. Oh my goodness. And all of those emotions got stuffed until after he passed away, and then I had to try to unravel the emotional mess that was left behind, not just the grief and the sadness and the longing and the hurt of missing my sweetheart, but the mess that was left behind of, you shouldn't feel that, you shouldn't feel that, you shouldn't have done that, you shouldn't think that, you shouldn't be angry, you shouldn't be, feel, do, whatever. It was really a long process to try to unstuff all that. And so today, when I was hearing about the woman who was getting criticized for wanting a birthday, she's hurting at the same time that her partner, husband, whoever it was that is dying or terminal, she's hurting too. That's another thing I just want to say. If you are in a situation with a family member who is going through a trauma, it affects you too. Yes, they may need the more critical focus, but please don't negate what you are going through. It will come back to say, oh my goodness, you've been stuffing all this. Why do you think people walk around wounded, walking dead, looking like the life has been drained right out of them? All the social anxiety that is so pervasive. You can't keep ignoring what's really going on, but you can work through it and become a happier person because of it. I hope this makes sense. It certainly isn't to criticize or judge anyone. It's to say, what if you gave permission to those things that you keep trying to ignore, that they're really there, they exist, but you're trying to look the other way. There's only so long you'll be able to look the other way. If you work through them, if you give permission to your energy to process them, you will get further, faster, quicker, with much less pain and a lot less time that you fought fighting all those feelings, resistances, and beating yourself up for what you shouldn't be doing and how you shouldn't be feeling. I hope it helps. I hope it brings some comfort. There is a way to tap through all this. That's for another time, another audio, but see how this lands for you. If this doesn't feel right to you, then move on to something else. That's the other thing I just want to say. A lot of people are very critical in social media, or they'll be on a certain site that's geared or dictated by a certain show or a certain topic or whatever. And you'll hear people just beating up about, the topic or beating up about the show or whatever. And I'm one that tends to comment then, there are other channels that you can watch. There are other shows that you can watch. Maybe you ought to go over there instead of fighting against. We're so used to fighting against. It doesn't occur. Oh, there are other choices. Let me go over here instead. Just something to think about instead of tearing something down. Go to where it feels good. Go to where it does align with you. But if you are feeling negativity, work through it. Did you learn to attack? Did you learn to fight against? Did you learn to be in opposition? Those might be some of the things that you're meant to learn as you tap through some of these topics, some of these feelings. If these kind of explanations and targeting subjects in this way helps you to better understand, if you want to find out more about tapping and me, working with me, subscribe to my channel right here. First of all, hit the button to subscribe because I do send out notices of when these new audios are coming up. I have a website, a membership site. You can do private sessions with me. I have products and programs that can help you work through all this. You don't have to keep swirling and spinning in the same old that's working against you. There are ways to work through social anxiety. There are ways to work through grief, sadness, guilt. There are ways to work through so many unacceptable, quote unquote, emotions that are part of being human. They're not unacceptable. They're uncomfortable, and they could be detrimental if you don't do something to clear them. I have so many tools that you can use. I have so many ways to explain things that you may be beating yourself up for that are actually signals and messengers to help you work through some of the things that are hurting you, that have been hurting you for a very long time. So subscribe if this is of interest to you. You can sign up on my website, True Authentic Power, for my newsletter. You can download my Design Your Life Now download, which will help you focus on where you want to go and what is in your way. Because when you can clear out what's in your way, what you want to focus on will show up much faster. I hope all of this helps. I hope it brings some understanding so that you can stop beating yourself up and start understanding why you need to work through those things, how you can work through those feelings and unacceptable things, quote unquote, that are unacceptable. And until our paths cross again next time, bye-bye for now.